Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Debt Free Me. My name is Yana and I am a 35-year-old mom and wife that's on a debt-free journey. In today's video, I am going to be sharing my February spending plan closeout. For my income, I did bring in a little bit more than what I actually budgeted. So I budgeted $5,846 and I brought in $6,020, and that was a difference of $174. And the reason why I budgeted so low was because I didn't know what my normal paycheck was going to be after having a raise, and then also with the insurance switching. So I wanted to make sure I didn't budget more than what actually came in. My husband did go ahead and give me the $400. So for total to spend, I actually had $6,420. We're going to ignore this remaining actual because it is completely different, and I will explain why as I go through this closeout. So for my pie charts, as far as the budget income and the actual income breakdown, for my debt, I was expecting to spend 22.5% of my income on debt, but I actually spent 20.5% on debt. For my savings, I wanted to give 8.8% to my savings, but ended up giving 7.1% to my savings. And for my expenses, I was going to spend 33.9% of my income towards that, but I actually ended up spending 32.1% towards that. And then for my bills, 34.8% was going to go to my bills, but 40.3% of my income went to bills. For my bills, for my rent, I did spend the 15.16.53. For my energy bill, I did budget it 200, but I gave $191.11. For my life insurance, I budgeted $55 and it came in at $54.70. For worship, I did budget and give $400. And then nothing for my Nana's mortgage. And then my husband' car taxes was a monkey ranch. I didn't think that I was going to have to pay his, but I ended up paying his, and that came to $397.44. So I actually spent more than what I had budgeted. I budgeted $2,171.53, and I spent $2,559.78. And I will tell you all how I covered his car taxes in just a moment. For my expenses, I did give the $700 for food, $300 for hair, $120 for my daughter's account, $125 for my car gas, $100 for household, nothing for medical, $110 for my massage membership, and $100 for takeout. I gave myself $80 for spending, $79 for the gym, and instead of the $400 I put aside for BTS, I ended up spending $324 for those tickets. So my expenses came in a little bit under what I had budgeted. So I budgeted $2,114, but I spent $2,038. For my savings, I know you guys are wondering what these lines are, so let me explain. For my daughter's high yield savings, I did budget 100 and I did put $100 in there. For my high yield savings account, I budgeted $200, but I only put $100 in there. For my car savings, I did budget 50 and I did put 50 in there, as well as medical. I budgeted 100 and I put $100 in there, as well as travel. I budgeted $100 and I did put $100 in there. However, to cover my husband taxes and to cover my unexpected car repair, I ended up taking this money out of this saving sinking funds, and I use that money to cover those expenses. And the reason why I have a line through these savings categories is because I wanted to remember where I took the money from to pay for my husband's car taxes and my unexpected car repair. So that $100 that I didn't put into my savings, that went towards my husband's car taxes, as well as $100 for the medical, $100 for the travel. And then I also had $100 in travel from the previous month. And so I used that money to cover his taxes. So I literally have no more money in my travel saving sinking funds, as well as my car fund has been depleted. And so I had $100 for January saved and then $50 from this month saved. And so I put that towards that unexpected car repair. I don't have any money in these savings sinking funds. So even though I budgeted $550 and I did put that $450 in there, it pretty much is gone. Nothing for investments as I am paying off debt. So for my debt categories, my student loans, I budgeted $300 and I did pay $300 towards it. And then for my last credit card, my city credit card, I budgeted $1,100 as that was going to be a part of my snowball, but I decided to just put the $1,000 towards the credit card. And so I budgeted $1,400 and I only gave $1,300. And as you all know, my expenses, I overspent. So here's a little pie chart if you guys want to glance at that. Let's go ahead and look at our total expenses spent for the month. So I spent a total of $2,342.91. I'm not going to review my expenses remaining check-in, but just know that I definitely overspent. Ignore the $72.22. What I did to cover all that extra spending was I pulled any money from any of my leftover spending, leftover buffers, and I put it all together and I covered all that spending on my credit card. And I think what helped was when I went to eat and I paid for the food that was like $170, I believe I pulled $200 out of my high yield savings account. And so that extra money went to paying off my overspending. And so what I actually had left remaining from this paycheck was $67.17, which is not bad, but I'm going to leave that in my account as a buffer. So here's my income summary. And looking at the categories, I did bring in $174 more than what I thought I was going to bring in. My bills actually was more than what I had budgeted, and I spent an extra $388.25 on bills. Expenses, I was supposed to have like $76 remaining, but I have the $67 remaining. And for savings, I gave less than what I budgeted by $100. And then for my debt, I put $100 less towards my debt than what I had budgeted. So overall, February was a very spendy month. I overspent by a lot. I am happy to have had some buffers remaining as well as my savings account because that really helped and pulled me through this month, and I do plan on building it back up. Now, what I didn't tell you all is that I pulled money from me and my daughter's high yield savings account to book a cruise for spring break. And no, I do not feel bad about it. I actually think that is one of the reasons why I'm starting to feel better because I now have something to look forward to. I know that I have a break coming up. I spent a total of $835 on our cruise, and that was $417.50 that came from each of our high yield savings accounts. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.